Getting too old for this shit. Getting too old for this shit. Hi, everybody. I back in the olden days, like probably like the 1700s, it was probably an accomplishment to live to 40. I don't believe that's the case anymore. But, I always call myself old school. So maybe the Knicks are trying to help me prove how old school I am by putting me in the ground before I turn 40, or I'm supposed to turn 40 this May. Boy, they've done a hell of a job of it this year. But a win is a win is a win, especially over that fucking team. And when they did, by the skin of their teeth, mind you, by the skin of their teeth, if there ever was a win, they got it tonight against the Miami Heat. Final score of 106-104. I am going to somehow try to encapsulate what we just I could sit here for an hour and fail to encapsulate what we just saw over the final I don't know 30 seconds of this game. I'm frightened. I'd like a flight to somewhere. I'm frightened to pull up the play-by-play for that end of the game there, but man, look, let's zoom out for a second. This is a big win. It was a big win. It was, I dare say, a necessary win. And to this team's credit, every time you think, whether it's that their backs are against the wall or the vibes have gone to shit, or both, oftentimes it's both, they find a way to pull out a win. First two games of the West Coast trip, after that Oklahoma City disaster, they won. Even if you go before that and mention the Philly game where they were down by like 13 in the fourth quarter, you could throw that in there too. The Cleveland game, obviously, after the Dallas game. The next Cleveland game that they won after the what was that? There was a losing streak, right? It's all mixing together. Followed by the Boston game. And now it was only 2 straight losses, and obviously they're still without Mitch. And that's the other part of tonight is like they were missing 2 of their, I don't know, you want to say they were missing 2 of their 4 best players? You want to say they were missing 2 of their 5 best players? I don't know. Those are some interesting conversations as we move along here. Someone who had been put to the back of that list recently certainly showed up tonight. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about everybody tonight. But they were down 2 guys. The Heat were healthy as they've been all year. And the Knicks needed this one. The vibes coming off that Laker game were really bad. And it's funny because in the immediate aftermath of the Laker game, I don't think it affected me that much. I was like, all right, it's a bad loss. It's a bad place down the stretch. The last play of regulation sucked. And then that post game really kind of woke me up to, I was like, wow, this really bothered people. And then when I woke up the next morning, I was like, holy shit, that was a really bad loss. And then to think about the Barrett piece of it all, and then the Randall, the last play, and not passing to Brunson, all of it together. Point is, once it was announced that Brunson was sick for this game, there was a part of me that was actually like, oh, well, now at least when they lose, they'll have an excuse. But they didn't want an excuse. This team never wants an excuse. That's not what they do. They don't look for excuses for all the shit that's wrong with them. And God knows there are things that are wrong with them. They do not look for excuses. And they came out, put it to the Heat, went up by 13 in the first half, lost it all behind a terrible bench performance in the first half. We'll get back to the bench. Nice rebound to end the second quarter. Third quarter, fell behind a little bit, but then pushed back ahead. And behind that bench, talk about coming back from the dead. Deuce McBride, Obi Toppin, Evan Fournier, Isaiah Hartenstein, I thought, for the most part, had a really nice game. Really, really nice game. And led by R.J. Barrett because Tom Thibodeau, I think, knew, he knew we could trust him. And that's the big takeaway from me tonight. After what happened after that last game, when it was very clear to anyone who read between the lines, Barrett wanted everybody to know his displeasure about how that went down. for Tom to put the ball in his hands, somewhat out of necessity, but put the ball in his hands, and he put the ball in his hands all the way through the fourth quarter. Barrett came up absolutely huge. Hold on, I'll get. He deserves to come out tonight. Wasn't a perfect game, because when is it ever? But we got Crowan out tonight. I think Crowan deserves to come out tonight. It was a big performance from Barrett, and Barrett needed that big performance. But when is it ever simple? When can we ever have that performance without a moment? And Barrett's moment tonight was when there were 52 seconds left and the Knicks were up by 3. And he throws the ball to, the wrong guy in Bam Adebayo. And it's Heat within 1. But then interesting possession to follow. Ball found its way in Quentin Grimes' hands, and Quentin Grimes, we'll talk about it in play of the game, made the pass of the game for an Isaiah Hartenstein dunk. And then after that, there was a whole lot of tomfoolery over the next, 25 seconds? 30 seconds. No, it was 33.1 from the Hartenstein dunk. Well, no, I guess it was 25 seconds from the Hero missed 3. And then 5 seconds when Randall made the dunk. So it was really 20 seconds of madness. 20 seconds of madness. And then Randall makes the dunk. They go up by 5. 5 seconds left. Game over. I wake up my entire household. My wife comes out. She's like, I'm checking on you to make sure you're not drinking. You're taking Sudafed. That's a bad combination. I'm like, can't do this to me tonight. I didn't take my nightly Sudafed yet, so I'm having my cocktail. I mean, come on. After that game, can you blame me? Anyway, 5 seconds left. They're up by 5. What the fuck could go wrong? Well, for one, forget to guard the three-point line. I haven't gone back and rewatched that play yet, but that was the original sin. Letting, I think it was Max Strus get open for 3 in a situation where 2 doesn't hurt you. I mean, not that 2 doesn't hurt you, but like 2 hurts you a lot less than 3 does. It was Strus. And then Mr. Randall. And we haven't talked about Mr. Randall because I'm saving Mr. Randall for last. Mr. Randall, he does get the ball, and he preemptively gets fouled, which is a new strategy. I think they haven't, maybe the Knicks have been workshopping that one. Hey, guys, let's not put ourselves in a situation where they can maybe get a steal or we fumble the ball before they execute the foul and we give up possession and there is no foul. Let's cut out the middleman and let's just get fouled before the foul. Wise like a, what animal is wise? I don't know. Like a fox. Yeah, didn't work. Didn't work, and he got one last chance, and I, with every bone of my body, thought that Tyler Hero 3 was going in. How he got so much room, I'll just say it right now. Again, great game from RJ Barrett. Wonderful offensive game. Had some decent defensive moments throughout the game. Not the right guy to be guarding that possession. That player, not the right guy to be guarding that dude on that possession. And sure enough, when the Knicks went up 14 in the second half, it was 2 blown RJ Barrett coverages on Tyler Hero that got the Knicks or got the Heat back in the game there. So again, not the right guy. I would have much rather. I understand why they wanted Grimes on, or I think it was actually Grimes on. I want to say Caleb Martin, but like they were maybe anticipating the switch, whatever was going on there. But I think once they saw RJ on Tyler Hero, I don't know if there was an option for that play, but I don't blame Miami. And he got a clean look, and Julius to his credit, helped. Did the help matter? I don't know. Might have been missed anyway, but Julius helped, and to his credit. And yes, I'm saving the best for last for Julius Randle. 2-time All-Star. Say what you want about Julius Randle. God knows I've said a lot about him over the course of his career here. Much of it has not been nice. He's a New York Knicks 2-time All-Star. This franchise people actually make fun of the Knicks. Like, when people call the Knicks one of the historic franchises in the league, people will poke fun at that because, like, why are the Knicks one of the most historic franchises in the league? They've won 2 championships in 76 years. But the Knicks have actually had a lot of great players. They had a bunch of Hall of Famers that played for them in the 50s. And then starting in the 70s, they had obviously one of the greatest teams of all time. But then since the 70s, and I think it was Michael Aaron replied to a tweet and reminded everybody earlier, and I retweeted it with the names of the players. Since in the last 50 years, they've only had, before this, 9 two-time All-Stars, or at least two-time All-Stars. 9. That's it. In 50 years of basketball, they only had 9 guys who were on the team that made 2 All-Star appearances in that 50 years. And if you think about it, like, since Ewing, which is the last 20 years, it's only been 2. And it was a trivia question tonight. Allen Houston and obviously Carmelo Anthony had more than 2. Allen Houston had 2 on the nose. There has really been a talent deficit. And Julius Randle came here as the most glaring, obvious, no doubt about it, consolation prize maybe in the history of New York professional sports. Not saying there weren't, like, worse players signed when a New York team couldn't sign a better player, but given the Knicks' plan to clear all that money and then, do something with it, and they were like, "Oh shit, we got to find someone to take our money." And I remember that night, and I cheered when I found out they gave Randle a team option because I didn't want them to sign Julius Randle. And after his first year, I wasn't feeling so bad about that decision. Since then, 2 out of 3 years, NBA All-Star. And for him to do it this year in this Eastern Conference, and maybe it'll come up, I'm sure it'll come up later. We could talk about why he got in over one guy that I had as a lock, Pascal Siakam, and a couple other guys that I figured would have made it over him in James Harden. And I thought it would be probably Harden. I thought it would be Harden and Siakam over him. I didn't think Holiday would make it either. So I was wrong on that. But anyway, on that night, we got the full Julius Randle experience. He came out for about 5 minutes. He was like, "Oh my God, are we watching the MVP?" He scored or assisted on the first 14 points of the game. Didn't miss a shot. Great passes. And then started going downhill. Third quarter, the very worst of Julius. And then at the end of the third quarter, there's Julius making some nice corner kick-out passes again. Good Julius is back. And then on the last play of the third quarter, Julius Randle gets a palming violation, and the Heat hit a 3 because he was too busy trying to wave off Miles McBride to pay attention to what he was doing. And, we got some more Julius moments down the stretch. But then, again, end of the game. We're going to talk about it again in moment of the game. We're going to have a lot of candidates to go through. I can't wait for Andrew to come up here and help me sort through these. Julius Randle's pass to Quentin Grimes to put them up by 5 with 150 left. A lot of shit happened after that, I understand. But in the moment, that play was just absolutely massive. And it was the last field goal. Excuse me, it wasn't the last field goal. It was a few more field goals after that. But it was the one that gave them separation. It was the one that you felt like, okay, the Knicks are maybe going to win this game. And the Heat aren't going to come back and steal it from them. Because that's how it felt for most of the fourth quarter. It's a great pass. And this game was Julius Randle in a nutshell. It was the good, the great, the frustrating, the terrible, everything in between. I've called him the most maddening player I've ever watched. He might be getting that title securely fastened once again. But give him his credit, give him his props, give the whole team their props tonight. Again, to go out and beat that Heat team that started hitting some threes. And Heat didn't give this game to them. They went out and won this game. So give the Knicks credit for that. I'm sure we'll have some criticisms and things. This is not a perfect team, certainly not a perfectly coached team. I'm sure some of the coaching stuff will come up. Although, look, give Tibbs credit. He did enough to win the game too. Although, as always, we have our quibbles. And I guess before I move on, because I talked about RJ and I talked about Julius Randle, Quentin Grimes deserves his own little mini segment before we get to moment of the game. Quentin Grimes, 17 points on 9 shots, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Some people of late were worried that like Quentin Grimes, oh, what's wrong with Quentin Grimes? Did we overrate Quentin Grimes? Were we too soon to anoint Quentin Grimes? Yeah, guess what? 1 or 2, 1.5 like cold weeks. No, not this kid. He's gonna be just fine. And he was honestly, I don't know if he was the best Nick tonight, but he was the most consistent Nick tonight. And he is gonna be strongly in the running for my 3-star player. That may sound insane on a night when RJ went for 30 and Julius, again, did some really nice things. I think I might have to give it to Quentin Grimes. All right, Andrew, are you ready for moment of the game?
Hold on.
What?
I love you, right?
You think I'm crazy for giving Quentin Grimes the 3-star?
No, it's nothing to do with Quentin Grimes. You haven't done something that. So look, we're going to talk about the Knicks tonight. This is a roller coaster of a game. And like, there's a lot of good to talk about, a lot of bad to break down. And
yes,
as you mentioned at the top, you're right. Very big win, a much needed win. But can we take just 10 seconds and laugh at the Miami Heat? Heat culture. Heat culture.
Listen,
my
man.
ass, jabronis. What's up, Kyle Lowry? Now I see why the Heat fan base despises you.
But he hit a big 3. Give him that.
Yeah, great third quarter 3 for your only basket of the night, Kyle Lowry. I enjoyed Julius or whomever taking you off the dribble every single time you were guarding somebody tonight. Enjoy South Florida, all of you. And it's fine dining, okay? I know I'm not one to talk, but I'm one to comment.
You loved when the Nets, the 87 Net fans threw the last Claudio laughing for 10 seconds clip back on your face.
Yes.
If you think we're going undefeated for the rest of our joint lives against this fucking team, you got nothing coming to you.
I don't care. That's why I get in my laughs right now. I hope you enjoyed your nap, Pat Riley, asleep at the wheel, while this team that you've built is struggling to hold on to a 6 seed. Okay, let's do moment of the game, John.
Okay. Boy, I need you to talk me through this one.
Okay.
So the Grimes pass to Isaiah Hartenstein to get them to 106 points, that has to be there.
To get them to 106 points?
Their last
okay.
Yes.
So you know what I wrote down, John?
What?
Organized chaos to make it 106-101. Because it was after the rebound led to this and then that, and it was the RJ pass that led to the Grimes
Sorry.
pass.
I misspoke. 104. I misspoke. The Quentin Grimes pass to get them to 104, 101.
Let me extend this for you. Let me
left.
extend it a bit, because it's not just the Quentin Grimes pass. And this was my biggest takeaway. It was our biggest takeaway on the playback tonight, watching it with the casuals. So we've struggled with watching the end of the game offense this season. And a lot of it has been, if you look at the 2-man lineups of Randall and Brunson, it gets way too much your turn, my turn, right?
Yes.
Well, because there was no Brunson, we saw a lot of variations tonight, right? And we saw
100%.
a lot of multiple switches where they'd pass out of a double to get it to RJ so he could take advantage of either Tyler Hero or Gabe Vincent. And that's like what we've been asking for. What I have for the 104-101 possession, John, is 5 passes lead to an I-heart dunk. A 5-pass possession, which we've been waiting for. And that's why I absolutely have that one there. And then I have the Quentin Grimes 3 is the other one to make it 100 to 95, I believe.
Okay, so the Grimes 3, the 5-pass possession. By the way, the Knicks tonight, 25 assists on 40 made field goals. That's a 62.5 assist percentage. That's for this team. That's excellent, but that's good for any NBA team. So those are, and then you want to do organized chaos for the third play.
Yes, organized chaos to make it 106-101. 5 passes to iHeart makes it 104-101. And then listen, you just hit it. The Quentin Grimes 3 stars, huge 3. Like that's a 3 he's been missing consistently.
That's
lately.
the 3.
Yeah.
Benji always talks about it. We need one of those. We haven't gotten one of those. Well, guess what? We got one of those.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out Quentin Grimes. Those are the 3 moments I have.
Yeah, and I do feel bad not getting RJ in on any of the moments, because there would be no moments of the game if RJ Barrett didn't hit bucket after bucket after bucket down the fourth quarter, and I want to acknowledge that. But like in a game like this, that's just the way it broke. So
I messaged Giancarlo, who is from the Miami Heat beat. I messaged him right after the game. We're still civil, even though what he messaged me was, "You see why Heat fans despise Kyle Lowry," and I was like, "And you saw firsthand the RJ Barrett roller coaster. Gave Tyler Hero 30 points, key turnovers, and some defensive breakdowns throughout the game. He was a net positive today, though. They don't win this game without RJ Barrett.
well, no, they don't win this game
Yeah.
without RJ Barrett, and like again, that's why, and I always try to be fair. That's the thing. I always try to be fair. You could kill RJ for his defense on Hero tonight. First of all, it wasn't that bad because when it's bad, it stands out. But
Yeah.
But the other thing is like when a player does struggle guarding another player, unless it's complete lack of effort, like that's a lot of that credit goes to the offensive player too. So it's not an equal give and take. Like the offensive production from RJ still matters a lot more than whatever he gave back on the other end. So I want to give RJ his proper due here.
There's also, and look, I'm not making sense about the officials. I don't think there is a thing about the officials you could make, but I didn't realize that Bam Adebayo has earned the respect of Kevin Garnett, that he could set whatever illegal screen to get Tyler Hero open he wants. Staring right at it. Every single screen he set to get that 9-0 run by Tyler Hero late in the game, late in the third quarter to cut the lead from 15-4 was all illegal screens by Bam Adebayo. He's good at it, but so is Kevin Garnett, which is my point. You're able apparently to not set your feet on a screen and you'll be fine.
And certain stars get certain calls. Trae Young gets calls that he gets, and these are the version of the calls that Bam Adebayo gets.
Hence why I'm not making it about the refs. I understand, but I'm just commenting. I didn't realize that Pat Riley has apparently sold us that Bam Adebayo is Kevin Garnett nowadays. I'm watching the modern day KG is apparently living in the 305. John Macri. Did you know that they invented working out down in Miami?
Oh, wow. You're digging. You really don't like this.
They're the first team ever that was like, hey, you have to show up to training camp in shape. And then for some reason signed Kyle Lowry,
Let's do a quick Weiss and Rosenblum personal injury report, which we actually have some news to report tonight. We said it at the top of the show, but we'll say it once again. The Knicks did not have Jalen Brunson tonight for the fourth time all season. I guess you would probably define this as the epitome of adding insult to injury, because Jalen Brunson, a guy who, as the TNT broadcast crew who were announcing the All-Star selections made sure to note, all four of them had that guy on their All-Star team, and he didn't make it. And that's an injury. And then he was sick tonight, and we hope he gets better for the weekend. Hopefully it's just a quick bug. We'll see. But yeah, they felt his loss tonight. One more time, Weiss and Rosenblum, personal injury report, personal injury attorneys. If you think you have a case, speak to a veteran attorney, not a rookie. Give them a call. They will give you an absolutely free consultation. They don't get paid unless you do. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes. 212. You took the number away.
Oh, 212. Sorry. You remember it from heart?
No, I don't. I should.
Hold on. Let me go back.
That's okay.
Still working on this. There you go.
212-366-6100 or weissandrosenblum.com. One more time, 212-366-6100. The last thing before we move on to the Super Chats, all kinds of issues down the stretch, although arguably not as many issues as we've seen in some other games. And I guess that's why you guys made the argument that like the offense was actually a little bit more fluid in some points down the stretch because it wasn't your turn, my turn. I completely agree with that. Well, at the same time, I think we could acknowledge that like not having your normal starting point guard in that game at the end also has things that it takes off the table. So there's a give and take there, and they managed to overcome that. So good job by them.
They were able to get more points than Miami Heat than without Jalen Brunson, without the 20 or however many points he was going to give you today, which I thought they had to find other ways to get offense. Credit to the bench, which was able to kind of use some ball movement and different versions of offense to get points and out. It's where you don't want to qualify what they did when Udonis Haslem, the poster child for Heat culture, is running around out there for some reason. But this shows you also how limited the Miami Heat are, which is what I've been telling you. I'm not patting my back on with the Miami Heat, what I've been saying about them all season on Patreon, but like that's a flawed basketball team over there that went all in on last season, didn't trade for Kevin Durant, and now their fan base legitimately hates Kyle Lowry.
And I could see why, because if you look at the team, Bam Adebayo, all-star. Jimmy Adebayo. Jimmy Butler, if he had played, I think probably 5 more games, he's an all-star. Everybody agrees he's one of the best players in the sport. Tyler Hero, really, really good season. Not all-star season, but good season. Nobody's complaining about him. And then they got these role players who are like, I fear, Max Strus when he takes a shot. I fear Gabe Vincent when he takes a shot to some extent. Like they have guys who could hit threes.
Not this year, not as much, which is the issue.
Not as much.
Which is what has happened this year, that they went from the number 1 team shooting threes because all these guys, I mean, our boy Duncan Robinson didn't see the court tonight, but
But who are you going to blame? You're going to blame the guys who are slumping from deep, or are you going to blame the $30 million guy who's supposed to make it so that you could withstand those
collective,
guys?
Collective effort. Don't worry, they'll turn it around. Key culture, baby.
Hashtag. You forgot the
they
hashtag.
got this. They got this. They're just gonna like flip a switch and then suddenly, oh wow, we're in the finals again. It's how basketball works, apparently. All right, you ready to do this?
Let's do it. I may need you to assist at times, but I'll tough it out for as long as I can.
Say the word. I'll be right up. We're smoking that Miami Heat pack tonight, as they say.
That's all I need. I need a cigar. I'm sure my wife would love that. Okay, giddy up. I can't wait to hear what this is going to be like.
By the way,
yes,
I'm going to give a shout out to our first couple super chats.
Why?
So this game ended at around 10:15 Eastern Standard Time, maybe closer to 10. Yeah, around 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. The first super chat came in at 8:43 p.m. because Red Sarachek was live super chatting the third and fourth quarter. So we start with the first bunch from Red Sarachek.
Okay, love you, Red. I might get these through these a little quick. Red Sarachek, how does Evan Fournier get 8 straight minutes when he couldn't earn a reserve spot in the Norwegian G League All-Star game? Tibbs has done so much for us, but man, adapt just once. Regardless, 7th Avenue is still getting shut down. So I actually think this is a great comment to start off with because I was having a conversation earlier today in our Discord with Sean about the kind of the yin and the yang of Tibbs. And we both agreed that his greatest downfall is arguably that he sticks with the plan. He sticks with the plan if he believes in it. If he believes that something is the best way to approach things, even if the results are not as he anticipated, he will stick with it. He will stick with it. He will stick with it because he believes in the process. He believes in process over results. That was a big part of the reason why last season went haywire. It was also a reason they won the game tonight. Because Evan Fournier was dog shit in the first half, stuck with him, put him back out there in the second half, and guess what? Guess who was maybe as key a player as there was in the second half for the Knicks? Evan Fournier played awesome in the third quarter and fourth quarter.
He comments on that too.
Red Sarachek, Evs D in the fourth quarter was great. He's earned a role as a Norwegian All-Star. Awesome.
Keep going.
Thanks, Red. Red with another one. At this point in the game, I don't know if we won or lost, but I wanted to show that it's not only Tibbs talk when things are mucho sad after a loss. Why would things be mucho sad after a loss? Hashtag Grimes 2024.
Hashtag Grimes. I'll vote for him. That works.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Red Sarachek with another one. It's 95-91. Stop the game. We won. Walk off the floor. This is great. Thank you for all the contributions, Red. Really. We love you here. Red Sarachek with another one. Top 10 Jules pass to Grimes there. Quentin Grimes better than Eric Adams. I guess he's not a fan of our mayor.
No comment, but also cosign. I don't know what to tell you there, Red. But
it was a top 10 Jules pass we've ever seen.
I would vote for Quentin Grimes. How about that? And then last one, but from the pregame super chats.
TJ Akai. If a team playing UD at the 5 and Udonis Haslem, I guess.
Yes.
And Bam is too quick for iHeart. Isn't that grounds to at least try going small? I don't know what is. Benji spot on, Obi flashing middle versus zone. Yeah, I love Benji's comment about Obi flashing middle versus zone. I thought Isaiah Hartenstein was pretty outstanding tonight. Bam Adebayo, that's why he makes, I don't know, what does he make? He's a max player. Whatever his max contract is. Defense is a big part of why he makes his max contract, but they don't give max contracts unless your name is Rudy Gobert anymore for defense-only players. And Bam Adebayo is deadly, absolutely deadly from that zone. I thought Isaiah Hartenstein played his tail off tonight. I thought he was yet again the Knicks' best center by a significant margin, as he has been a lot lately. like I I, I have less faith in a guy like Obi against a team like this than others do. I thought Obi was part of a part of the reason that they were successful in the third quarter. Hit two big shots, hit a big three. His as the play you're referencing when he flashed middle, that was important. He also got lost on a screen, and it was resulted in a wide open 3-pointer that was a big three in the moment in the fourth quarter. Like that happens too. You need defensive rebounds, like you need all the things. I didn't have an issue with that.
Yeah, the process in which we talked about it on playback was like, and look, some groups need to search to find credit for Tibbs, but he let that second unit kind of cook in the second quarter and let it get down under 6 minutes before we got a Julius re-entry. And then it was the fourth quarter when they were cooking.
Yep.
That he let them get under 6 minutes. It was like, oh, this is actually, it's working, and he's letting it ride, which is what you wanted. Which, look, that's, I thought, how they needed to use Obi tonight, which Benji pointed to. He helped you break down the zone, which that was killing them in the first half when they couldn't hit a three.
Yes. Yeah. No, I thought I don't know if he's learning lessons about I can't play my starters as many minutes as I usually do, but I thought tonight that I didn't have any problem with the substitution patterns. I didn't have any problem with the minutes allocation. RJ played 41, Grimes quickly 37, Julius only 34, top and 14. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
All right, back to the post game super chats. Now, by the way, just real quick, the Adonis Haslam 3-point attempt. Listen, some 3-pointers look like they hurt on certain people, and that was one of those. The 12th man on the roster. That's really more of an assistant coach just attempted a 3. So.
I don't think that was his only 3-pointer.
Did he take 2? Either. No, he took 1. He took 1. He took a mid-range baseline.
Oh, that's the other one.
Yeah.
That Jimmy passed to him.
Look, there was a halftime. In between the third and fourth quarter, there was a 3-point attempt from a fan from half court.
Yes,
I had more confidence in that going in than Udonis Haslam's all his might 3-pointer that went up there. But heat culture, baby. You just got to trust it. It's the same thing as trust the process. Heat culture, baby.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, now let's get to the true post-game super chats. Robert Cross, of course, starts us off. I'm glad he waited until after the final buzzer. Otherwise, I think if they lost, I would have blamed you, Robert, if that Hero 3 went in. First time, long time, John. I didn't get to watch the game. How did RJ do tonight? Oh, I'm sure you didn't watch the game. I'll hang up and listen. Hashtag 53 wins. This is a night where if he played like this on offense every night, we would be talking about a guy who was in the all-star conversation. If he just on offense, I'm talking about on offense, he needs to be better defensively. There's no question about that. He needs to be better defensively. But the offensive game we saw from RJ Barrett tonight is a player with an all-star upside. It's as simple as that. He had 30 points on 23 shots, which is not the best efficiency, but that's only because he missed all 5 threes. He's not usually going to miss all 5 threes. Moving forward, I have a lot of confidence in him that he's going to make a couple of those threes, in which case it turns into a 36-point night on 23 shots, which looks a lot better. Throw in 8 rebounds and 4 assists, and can't ask for anything more. That's why I brought out the crow, Really, really, really nice game from RJ, for sure, 100%. Red Sarachek with another one. ATO's rock solid. Stop lobbing to Jules every inbounds. Well, Jules was there, right? Jules was there. He was open, and RJ hesitated. Didn't pass him the ball. That's on the inbounder, And again, usually Jalen Brunson is going to be your inbounder there. But he wasn't available tonight. Is there someone that could have been a better inbounder than RJ Barrett? Maybe. But I don't know. I also hear a lot of, we got to entrust RJ Barrett, and we got to give more responsibility to RJ Barrett, and we got to, RJ's our guy. Give the kid a shot. He should have made the initial pass. You design the play so that one guy gets open. That's all that you don't always get 2 bites at the apple. I can't tell you how many games I feel like I've been flipping around on League Pass over the last few weeks where there is a 5-second violation, which It happens. Thanks, Red. Red with another one. Hart went from a soggy dollar slice to defensive player of the year. He's been good. He's been good for a while now. Hartenstein's this is the player he is. And that was the other thing. And I'm sure the guys were talking about it on playback. Letting him be the guy that they fucking signed for $8 million in the fourth quarter, which is what we saw a lot of. Like the guy, hey, guess what? We could pass this guy in the middle of the floor. That's a good way to help break his zone. Guy put the ball on the floor, dribble a couple times, make a pass. I don't know how many assists Hartenstein had tonight. He only ended up with one assist. I don't care. He was at the center of a lot of those positive possessions where the ball was moving around. And defensively, as you point out, he was quite good. Red Sarachak, dribble out the clock, Jules. Regardless, I'm tired. I'm tired too, Red. Don't feel bad. Dan Hidalgo, what's going on, Dan? RJ was decisive on offense. I'm going to come back to that because I have a thought. I thought he made quick decisions all night. Grimes is showing he's more than just a 3-and-D wing. I think he's been showing us that since the summer league. And yes, completely agree. And how in the world does Tibbs distribute minutes to all these guards? You mean when Brunson comes back? Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's going to be tough. We keep saying it. They have 6 starters. Because Emmanuel, the notion that Emmanuel Quickley is like not in this, and we haven't talked about Emmanuel Quickley yet because he didn't do like anything explosive tonight. But 37 minutes of great defense. I can't count how many possessions there were where he's there waving his arms around. Like the shots that were made on him, it was excellent defense. Shots just went in. He was 3 for 8, but it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Your point about RJ being decisive on offense and making quick decisions. I hope I'm not trying to play both sides of the fence here, but I think there's a difference between making quick decisions, which I agree with you. He did make some quick decisions tonight, and rushing. Because rushing is when RJ Barrett gets into trouble. Now, sometimes attacking quickly is the key. Not attacking Emmanuel quickly. Attacking fast is the key. But I actually thought there were a lot of possessions tonight where he was pretty patient. But the patience came probably, I think, after he saw how the play was developing and how he wanted to execute the play. And then the next step from there, the last step really from him that I still think we're waiting on, is after you go into your move, be a little bit more ready to make the pass if the pass is the proper play. You want to bet? You don't want to give me a kiss in front of all the fans here? No? Oh, love you. As my wife heads to bed. I love my wife. Anyway, so yeah, that's the last thing that I want to see from RJ. Which I still think he could do a better job of. But hopefully that'll come. But yeah, good game from RJ. Hamdy M, what's going on, Hamdy? Too much stress, you think? But finally a win at home. Yeah, that's another thing. There's a home win. And again, I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. We know the owner does not like home losses. We know it. It's a fact. Now, I think he doesn't like home blowouts. I think as long as people are cheering and having fun for the majority of the game, he's more okay with it. But at some point, the home record becomes such that it becomes too much to overcome. So, listen, if you're the sort of person that wants everybody to get fired and them to start from scratch, then, you probably should have rooted for them to lose this game. I really wanted them to win this because I want to see what this team could do. I want to see what this group could do, coach included, this regime. I think they've earned the right to continue on. So this was a big win. When you look at the list of things we need to do to eventually compete, winning at home is important. Yep. Completely agree. Danny Gardner. Not employing a switch everything scheme up multiple scores down the stretch of these games is generationally stupid. Why is my Isaiah Hartenstein up 5 with 5 seconds left? Yeah, I think that's fair. That's a fair criticism. I would imagine that a mistake was made. That's the thing with all of these. We assume the mistake is that they were instructed incorrectly, right? That's the assumption. It's not always the case. I don't know. Maybe it was the case. But, like, you can't give up a 3 there. And the fact that there was not someone there to guard that attempt is crazy. It's crazy, and it's a mistake, and they need to work on it. And the fact that we're 50-something games into the season and we're still talking about this, because this is a team that, for the most part, is pretty smart defensively. I don't think they're certainly not a dumb defensive team. They're not a well-oiled machine, but they're not a dumb defensive team, and they make some of the dumbest defensive errors, and that was one of them. That was, like I said, that was the original sin. Can't let him get open. Thanks, Danny. Cactus Shack. What's going on, Cactus? Do they not teach how to inbounds anymore? Go Knicks. I think guys just get flustered. Guys who aren't used to doing it get flustered, especially. And that's one of those things. It's like guys are big game players and big moment players in different ways. I think RJ has ice water in his veins when it comes to, like, driving the lane with the ball in his hands. And he certainly made a lot of big threes at the end of games, but, like, maybe that's not his thing. I don't know. Fair, though. Thanks, Cactus Shack. Greg Moran. What's going on, Greg? This game, like the entire season, was an absolute roller coaster, you think? I can't even fathom sitting here and trying to talk about that game if they had lost. I was thinking to myself, as I probably at the moment where I knew they were gonna, they were looking at the Bam non-foul. At that moment when I became aware they were going to review it, I was like, oh, they're going to lose this game. And somehow I'm going to have this game and the Dallas game in Dallas and the Bulls game, which now, like, if they had lost this game, again, the Bulls game would then at that point look like quaint in retrospect. How they lost that with the 4 missed free throws, although, God, I remember that night. But, like, how do you keep doing that? To say nothing of all of the other, like, normal, terrible losses, as opposed to, like, I'm going to tell my grandchildren. Anyway, Brunson and a Mitchless dub. Don't ask questions. Just take the dub and run. Exhale. That's my big takeaway, and that's why, like, this is a night where I'm never going to tell anybody, like, don't criticize, because, again, it was when the bad shit comes up game after game after game, and it's the same bad shit, and it's like the PTSD. It's not PTSD because it's not like it ever went away. It's not post-traumatic. It is, the trauma is active. So that's why I'm never going to blame anybody for criticizing. But, like, I do think this is a night to take a step back and be like, no Mitchell Robinson, no Jalen Brunson. You beat a team that is better, the higher in the standings than you. At full health. That's just exhale. Two more. So I keep saying, 2 more. Get to the All-Star break at 500. 2 more games. Can we get 2 more? 2. Mythic Monty, what's going on, Mythic? Felt like a 2021 Knicks game. Thankful for Brunson. This felt like a little bit like a 1997 Knicks game at some points. Yeah, I'm thankful for Brunson too. I really feel like I want to say more about him, because I can't sit here and say he got robbed, right? I can't sit here and say he got robbed, because that's not accurate. Do I think there was a really good argument for him over Drew Holiday? I do. You could make a case for him over DeMar DeRozan. I think the case for him over DeMar DeRozan is actually a little bit stronger than the case for him over Tyrese Halliburton. But, like, Halliburton, keep in mind, like, Halliburton isn't one of these guys who played he played 40 games and then he got hurt. And then when he got hurt, the Pacers couldn't win a game again. So, like, in a weird way, his missing games actually kind of helped his candidacy because that turned into a different team. That's like the honest answer is probably if Brunson was going to get in, it would have been over Randall. And like, I don't want to do that to Randall to be like, it's a travesty that Brunson didn't get in place of his teammate. But like, you wonder, like, Brunson had the narrative this year. New team, turned around their season from last year. Everybody knows his importance. Nobody's questioning Jalen Brunson's importance to the Knicks. I'm sure he wanted that too, especially since that was the other part of it. Like, Julius has one already, and I don't know that Jalen Brunson's going to get another. Now, if the Knicks become a really good team, maybe that changes. But then if the Knicks become a really good team, do the Knicks get a much better player? And then does Jalen Brunson's role change and his numbers will look differently? It's I feel bad for him from that perspective. Thanks, Mythic Monty. Appreciate it. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, Kevin? Good night for me personally. I can't wait to hear about it. And the Knicks caught the second half. Isaiah Hartenstein turning around his season couldn't come at a better time. Good night. Good for RJ tonight. Wow. Yeah. Glad you had a good time tonight, Kev. I'll just leave it at that. HamDM, gotta give iHeart credit. He's been playing well. Yeah. Like, look at the games they've won. They won games over Boston, which is probably Hartenstein's least impact of the three. The Cleveland game, massive impact, obviously, defensively down the stretch. And this game, they don't win this game without Isaiah Hartenstein. And they needed one of the centers to step up if they were going to overcome the loss of Mitch and win any games. And we're sitting here now, and like I looked at the schedule after Mitch went down, and I was like, shit. What, like, and don't forget, they had just lost. Like, he went down in the Washington game, right? But they lost that game, and they lost to Toronto. And I was like, where are the wins coming from? And now you look up, and in games in which Mitch has been completely absent, they're 3-4. Which should it be maybe 4-3? Should they have won the Laker game? Probably, but like, still 3-4 without Mitch, you take it. Even 3-5 if you want to throw in the Washington game. Thanks, Hamdy. Dominic Manzi, can we talk about Jules' kick out to Grimes? Great winning play right there. It was easily my favorite play of the game from him. Easily my favorite play of the game. It was a pass that I don't think a lot of people can make. Certainly not a lot of people in the NBA his size. That was a LeBron level pass, or a Jokic level pass, or a Sabonis level pass. Like, Randall isn't obviously he's not on the level of those guys as a passer. I just named two of the 10 or 15 greatest passers ever in LeBron James and Nikola Jokic, but like on that level, that pass. And as great as the pass was in terms of the skill required to execute it, the fact that he made the pass is what you love. That's what you love. Thanks, Dominic. I'm glad you pointed that out. Sean Ford, this team, I'll add a word for you, fucking team. My God, I needed that. They needed that. RJ needed that. But does it always have to be like that? Hashtag good God. Yes. Yes, it does. That's your answer. You want my answer? You asked it. That's my answer. Yes, it has to be like that. Dylan Chop Charles. Okay, I think I know what's coming for this. What's going on, Dylan Chop Charles? Yo, J-Mac, I'm back like a spine. I like that. On tonight's Forgotten Play, with 46 seconds left in the third, Randall has a great assist to Deuce for a three. Then on the following play, gets almost the same assist to Grimes. I called it out at the beginning of the live stream. I hope you heard it. Though I was getting ready to praise him specifically for those two passes, because for the entirety of the third quarter leading up to that, he was not He was not good. And then those two passes, I was like, yes, we're back. Great ball movement. Completely agree. And that's why, like, even, was it Julius's best game? No, not Julius's best game. 23 points on 19 shots, but 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. Could do without the 7 turnovers. 17 turnovers for the Knicks tonight. Not what you want. Not what you want. I'm actually going to look up. I think that might have been one of their season high turnover totals. Thank you very much, Dylan Chop Charles. I love the tonight's forgotten play. Really do. Jibo. So I'm going to pretend the last 2 minutes didn't happen. Why? What would be the fun in that? And there was also some really big plays, like good plays in the last 2 minutes. You could pretend the last 5 seconds didn't happen. And then the inbounds too. Great bounce back game, RJ. Quentin Grimes finally made an open clutch 3. Open, but like, again, part of the challenge for him is they're only open for an instant, because everybody knows where he is, always, defensively. Everybody knows where he is. And he has to fire these things quick. And congrats, Randall. Get better, Jalen Brunson. That's pretty well said. Frank Miranda. Oh, I can't wait for this one. Frank's usually a Debbie Downer. Let's see what he's got tonight. Hey, Mag, it's your boy Frank from Patreon. I'm sorry Tibbs is sorry. Year 3, and we still cannot beat the zone, inbounds, and late game situations and get flustered with a press. Hashtag fire Tibbs. Frank, you know why Frank's upset? I'll tell you why Frank's upset. Frank picked, I believe, 36 wins for this team. Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 36.
That might even be high. But yes, let's go with 36. Let's go with 36.
Stay on here because I need you on here to tell me if I'm going over the top with my defense.
You're good.
Of my coach. But so
yes, defend your coach. Let's hear it.
The inbounds in the late game situations, you didn't have your starting point guard. So I think that deserves to be mentioned. Get flustered with the press. Did they get flustered with the press tonight? I guess the madness that occurred.
The flustered with the press, I think, speaks to the apologies, everybody. My mic came in hot.
No, you're good.
The flustered with the press, I think, that more speaks to the 17 turnovers. It's more the trapping. I think
that's trapping. That's that.
But I think, defense. But I'm not. But that's what I'm thinking. I think he's referring less to an actual press, and he's more talking about the trapping. That's
that's a Julius thing. Julius got flustered. I mean, again, 7 turnovers for Julius Randle. That is. I don't know that there's a coach alive or dead that could coach that out of Julius Randle. And RJ has obviously had his turnover issues as well. He had 5 tonight. So 7 plus 5, those are 12 of your turnovers again. And you're directing the offense through those guys because you didn't have your starting point guard, who's a very low turnover guy. And to their credit, they've been an extraordinarily low turnover team all year long. And then here's the one I was waiting for. I was surprised it took this long to come up. Miami's 5th in defense. They play, what's the exact percentage of zone they play? Isn't it like 20% or 20-something percent?
It's something like that. DJ Zulo's in this pregame was basically said, expect to see a lot of their patented 2-3 zone tonight.
It's an insane percentage of zone. Everybody knows it's coming. The Knicks knew it was coming. Every team that plays them knows it's coming. We're 50-something games into the season. They're 5th in defense. They play a ton of zone. Any complaint you want to have about Tibbs against can't beat the zone? Go say the same thing about 28 or 29 other coaches or 28 other coaches in the league because they're 5th in defense.
Yeah.
So I guess every coach doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
So I'm going to defend both of you. To Frank's point, this is not the first team to play a zone against the Knicks and succeed. To your point, it's difficult to beat a zone when you don't have a lot of great 3-point shooters. I just in prep for the pod with Giancarlo yesterday, I rewatched a lot of that Cavaliers Heat game where they played the exact same type of 2-3 zone that had a lot of trapping in it. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland struggled against that zone. So you're right. It is played to an elite level. And I was actually, it's why I was so impressed in the third quarter that this team was able to beat the zone the way that they did.
So this is funny. This is the Knicks' 4th highest turnover game of the season. They've had 21, 20, and 19. They've won 3 of those games.
Really? What are the other ones?
Yeah. 21 turnovers again at Philly early in the season where they escaped against that undermanned Philly team. And then the game that started the 8-game winning streak against Cleveland, they had 20 turnovers. The 19 turnover game was the game immediately before that against the Dallas Mavericks at MSG.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Which they did not win that game.
Of course. That was not a game I would have expected them to win.
Yeah, the Knicks tonight, by the way, I don't know if I said it already, 12 of 36 from 3. A lot of those were open looks against the zone. And they missed. Janky AF. Glad I picked my bulk lot of diapers this morning.
Oh, Alex also brings up a good point in the chat. The Cleveland game was the 15 travel game. So I don't even know if you could count that as like a huge turnover.
Oh, my
game.
God, yes.
It was one of the weirdest nights I've ever watched with
that
basketball. Every time you
wild.
took a step, let alone a second step, it was called a travel. So
that's a great call. Anthony Sixto, we had one of our good old-fashioned meltdowns and still won. I don't think this was a meltdown. Meltdowns happen over minutes. For me, Knicks meltdowns happen over minutes. Like we're up by a dozen, or we're up by a dozen with 3 minutes left, or we're up by 7 with, 65 seconds left. This was we're up by 5 with 5 seconds left. There has to be just a different word for it.
I think you're right that there's probably a different word. I think there are levels of meltdowns in a world where the games where they blew double-digit leads late in the fourth or late in the second half exist, and also games where they had a 9-point lead with 30 seconds and lost, a 3-point lead against the Bulls and missed free throws and lost. Like, there are two kinds of meltdowns, which is what I think Anthony's referring to. Is we had another one of those games, John. They had 2 turnovers in the last 30 seconds. Like
this is you. Well, no, it wasn't 2 turnovers. Oh yeah, on the crazy play.
The inbound pass to from Julius to from RJ to Julius that Bam stole. And then
that was
trip.
with 55 seconds left. So 2 in the last minute.
Whatever. The fact is, you just don't turn the ball over. You hit your free throws. You win this comfortably tonight.
For me, this was more you're about to cross the finish line to win the race, and then diarrhea slips down your leg, and you slip on it, and you fall and lose. Except here you fell over the finish line and still won.
I think Tyler Hero pushed them over the finish line by missing that shot. So we'll go with that.
Maybe he slipped on the diarrhea.
There you go. Tyler Hero slipped on the diarrhea.
I will call that process that erased the last 2 minutes from my brain. # Brunson Harry back.
There you go.
Red Sarachek with another one. Last play was the difference between me chucking my remote and praying to it like the prayer stick that it is. Crazy to think we made it to the playoffs without a point guard. Yeah.
No, shout out Derrick Rose.
30 some odd games of Derrick Rose.
And that they were like 22 and like 14 or something crazy during that stretch with Derrick Rose.
They were very good with Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
Danny Gardner with another one. The fourth quarter offense was noticeably smoother when it didn't go through Julius Randle. Completely agree. It doesn't even have to be RJ. It just can't be Julius.
I'm laughing because we came up with a nickname for when they decide to go ISO Julius in those situations down the stretch. We came up with a nickname for that kind of offense. It's called Run the Jewels.
Run the Jewels.
Anytime they go ISO Randall, Tibbs is yelling Run the Jewels.
It just never works.
Nope.
It never works. He can't initiate offense in those situations. Yes. Thanks, Danny. William E. Grimes is essential to the offense. So I do think, listen, let me be very clear about this. I'm not suggesting that Jalen Brunson should not be a member of the starting lineup, but I do think it was interesting to see quickly Grimes and RJ and Julius together. I kind of like that look. I thought they did some nice things together. Tom Thibodeau has done some different staggering things. Maybe got a look at what he saw tonight and was like, maybe there's another way I could stagger. Because, I don't know that they found that perfect formula yet. But I did like how that group looked tonight. Now, Julius got off to an incredible start to this game. We should also note. So yeah. Hamdy M, do you think Randall puts pressure on himself? Hashtag relax, man. Why are you making a face?
I think this is just who he is. He's a intense player. You know, he only has a version he knows that is super intense, or you know, the lack of effort that we've seen sometimes. I think is just when you go. It's always either 110 or like 20%. He doesn't have like a cool 75% version of him throughout a game.
Yeah, and what do you think is the biggest? What's the biggest, like the one, like non-basketball quality, but a quality that he would translate to the basketball floor court, quality that you would give him? Is self-awareness?
But so what I would want him to
if you could give him one, if you could imbue, is that the right word? Imbue on him one quality.
Processing. He takes so shout out Mensa. He was killing it on the playback tonight. He said that Julius Randle is like Windows 95 when it comes to how quickly he processes things. He always needs like an extra 2 or 3 seconds than other quicker decision makers. But Julius Randle making quicker decisions is one of the more unstoppable players in the NBA. The problem is that rarely does he always make the quicker decisions.
And you saw that on a couple of the traps where he just and I was thinking of the Benji did a breakdown at some point. I don't know, the last few weeks, I think, where he would stop and he would freeze at the exact moment where it's like, this is where the pass needs to be made now. You know,
Benji's video about the last play against the Lakers, like Julius has to see that pass to
no. Yes, absolutely. But there's a lot more examples, and it's just processing speed. But I also think self-awareness, because like when he doesn't have it or when things are not going his way, he does not seem to have the ability to self-regulate.
Right.
And again, we saw it. I think it was at the end of the third quarter, right, where somebody had to come and corral him from getting attacked.
Yeah. No, I disagree. I think both would. This is the flaws of an all-star that is not a perfect player, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dan Hidalgo, 30 on Valentine's Day. Can I claim too old for this?
Oh, happy early birthday, Dan.
Happy early birthday. You're going to be 30. No.
Not yet.
No, you cannot.
I don't know if I am.
You're aging. The aging process starts at 30. For me, it did. At least.
I've told you, I don't mind the early aging process. I want to be the wiser one, you know, older and wiser.
God bless you.
I don't know. Some of us have to be that, you know.
Thankfully, it's you.
That want to be in their 30s, you know.
Jeff Smith, Clyde discombobulated and recombobulated. Did he actually say that?
I don't know, but if he did, it's amazing. That sentence alone is amazing.
Thank you, Jeff Smith.
Yeah. Here you go.
MDM. You are old, John. I am old. I am. Wait till your kids get older and are crazy about the Knicks just as much as you are. Best group chat ever. Thank you, Hamdy. Yeah, tonight it was kind of cool because my wife, I don't know if she wants me saying that. That's okay. She's taking a class or taking some different classes for grad school. She's getting an advanced degree at John Jay, and Thursdays she's out of the house until pretty late at night. So I was just chilling with my oldest, and she was sitting there and watched the game with me, and they were up by a lot in the first quarter. They were up by 13 in the first quarter, and she's like, they're doing much better than normal tonight. So she knows enough to know that they usually do not do that well.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they went down, they're like, oh, she's like, no, they're not doing as well again. I was like, yeah, they're not doing as well again. And then she fell asleep on the couch. That's my story.
We share that. Significant others that while we're watching sports, they fall asleep on the couch. Yeah.
Well, my wife also falls asleep on the couch, but like, yes.
Yeah.
Dom Cappuccini, what's going on, Dom? How you doing, bud? Guess what? Only need to win at least 2 more. LOL. I need 1 more for the week, right?
Yes, you need 1 more for the week. The Knicks need 2 more for that 5-9 to come to fruition.
Yeah. No, I know that. I know.
Yeah.
They seem determined to bounce back in spite of the eye test. I love the way they came out tonight, and the way honestly they really They had two terrible stretches. The bench in the first half, and then the starters, mostly I think it was the starters in the third quarter. After the starters had gotten off to a great start to the third quarter, then they the three hero threes in a row, and then some not great Julius on offense. And it was literally like 5 minutes. And it was like that. That was a terrible 5 minutes. Terrible 5 minutes in the first half. The rest of the time, other than the last minute of the game, but they they played 30, like nearly 40 minutes of really good basketball tonight. That's impressive.
I agree.
Haitian Ferg, what's going on, Haitian? Hashtag E-Train Knicks. They break down every morning, but we still love them. I remember the E-Train. I used to have to take that.
Never
what a game.
it.
Really?
Where am I taking the E-Train in Long Island?
I forget.
Yeah.
You were never.
It's the Long Island Railroad. That's the Brentwood line. That's what I got. The Ronkonkoma line, I should say.
The E-Train's a funny bird, which is why this is a great analogy. What a game. Full team effort. We handled the zone defense extremely well. Okay. I don't know if I go that far, but I thought they handled it okay. Hit timely open shots. Deuce Grimes, I heart, clutch. Let's go Knicks. Thanks as always, Haitian. Your contributions and positive energy are always appreciated by no one more than me. I promise you that. James Pascal, if only we could get what we got tonight from the bench just on the majority of games. Huge games from Fournier, Deuce, and iHeart tonight. Like, can I openly ask where has that version of Evan Fournier been that we saw in the third and fourth quarter?
I no idea.
Like, because if that dude was capable of doing that, like, there's no question he'd be part of the rotation. That dude's part of any rotation in the league, even not shooting it well tonight. But positive impact. You don't have to shoot well to play well. Yeah, I don't know where that guy's been because that has not been the guy that we've seen at all this year. When he was in the rotation, even when he had to sub in, like he had a couple nice moments. But this was his best. I don't know. You could argue this might be his best, most impactful game of the season. And again, did he finish 1 for 7? Because I know at one point he was 1 for 7.
1 for 7, 1 for 6 from 3. So it wasn't even that he needed to make shots to be impactful.
Yeah, you watch the game. Like that dude helped them win the game. Busy. Good win. Shout out to the casuals for solid, entertaining playback, and shout out to all the patrons for a solid discussion on the Discord today. Plug Patreon membership here. Good night. Do you want to plug Patreon?
Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat real quick, but patreon.com/Knicks Film School. And join us. We have a Discord that we like to chat in. We're basically doing 2 watch parties a week, but basically if the casual Friday crew, there's a game on Thursday, we do a playback instead, but you can join us for our watch parties every week. And John and I, we're doing a pod tomorrow. We do an extra KFS pod every week, once a week, that covers the NBA at large, which I think tomorrow we're going to be reacting to the NBA All-Stars. I have a question for John. We need him to help me with something, which I'm going to surprise him with tomorrow on the pod.
Oh, great.
And then I think we're going to look at the All-NBA conversation before we head into the All-Star break. So
Can I give you an early, or maybe not that early, but a candidate for quote of the year?
Quote of the year? Yes, go ahead.
This is courtesy of the great Ian Begley. Julius Randle was asked about Tom Thibodeau's impact on his game. Stay with me here. There's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's about to talk about a roller coaster ride. As a player,
oh boy,
it always feels great when your coach has the ultimate trust in you. He's meant a lot to my career in helping me get in this position and growing my game and holding me accountable. He's been amazing. Look, he's a 2-time All-Star, and this was a guy who nobody thought. I mean, I don't think anybody thought he had a real chance of making the All-Star team. I mean, Jesus Christ, the Lakers didn't pick up his qualifying offer.
They dumped him when they were trying to clear space for LeBron.
Yeah.
They renounced his rights, is what they did.
Yeah, and he's a 2-time All-Star now, and it is, again, I wrote about it today for the newsletter. The Tibbs-Randle relationship is I think I called it. Has there ever been a less popular? Uh, I always use this word, but it's the correct word here. Ostensibly successful relationship in New York sports history because they have won.
Yeah.
When you put them together, they have won. They've won more than they've lost, which for this franchise, throw a fucking parade. So you can't look at the Julius and Tibbs combination and say, oh, it hasn't been successful. It has been successful. And yet they empower each other in lots of ways. It's wild. It's wild.
I think you got me thinking when I read the newsletter this morning about other player coach combinations. The ostensibly successful part is
that's the tough part.
Because Julius, there are comps to guys that came here, started off slow, and then were good. There's nobody I can think of that came here, started off slow, then was good, then was bad, and then was even better again. And then the Tibbs thing, like you said, one, I don't think you get one without the other. So how do you evaluate something that you can't fully call a failure, but you also you wonder you wonder how far you can go with them together, you know?
You can't call it a fail. I mean, look, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but like if they make the playoffs this year and it's a franchise that's made the playoffs, it made the playoffs 4 times in 20 years, right? Or 4 times in 19 years? Once with Marbury and then 3 times with Melo.
And then 2 years ago.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
before
5.
That,
oh, yeah, okay, yeah, 4 times in 19 years.
4 times in 19 years. And then if you're going to say twice in 3 years, and the most important player in that time has been Randall, and obviously it's under coach. And like Tibbs has been for better and for worse. He has been behind Julius Randle becoming this version of Julius Randle. And Julius Randle's been behind it too because he puts in the work. And he has the self-belief. And that self-belief manifests itself in many, many ways. That's all. Let's move on. Nicholas Roberts. RJ needs that kind of hard coaching, and there is so much of a need on this team for a guy who cuts and runs. Where could we find a guy like that? Is this a Cam thing? I don't know.
Hold on. I wasn't reading it. RJ needs that kind of hard coaching.
For a guy who cuts and runs.
I'm gonna assume it's a Cam thing. I'll let Nick chime in. It's fascinating to see Tom address the Cam stuff in the pregame show, in the pregame interview. You know,
I'm assuming it was either his agent or his manager he was calling out. Probably his manager at the end, where he's like, "I have an idea where it's coming from."
Oh, it's an Obi thing. I think it might be an Obi thing.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I love when Obi cuts. I want Obi to cut more. He used to cut a lot more. Maybe they told him to stop cutting. I don't think so. Again, you never fully blame the player, especially when they're trying to turn him into a 3-point shooter. But there's yes, more of that, please. Juanon, big win. Here's the tough question. What's more overrated, South Beach or Heat culture? I'll hang up and listen. Also, deadline thoughts if you haven't hit it already by the time reading this.
The
South Beach,
South Beach is amazing. I have nothing bad to say about the actual experience of South Beach. I went there this past summer. One of my favorite vacations ever. I could never do it year round, but as somebody who enjoys the beach, enjoys that kind of weather, I gotta go Heat culture being more overrated than the actual Miami Heat,
Like, I'm gonna push back on that.
Oh,
and I think this is the difference because you're not a drinker.
Oh, okay.
I, however, as evinced by the custom Scotch glass that says "Let's go Knicks" and scotch it up, that my wife was so kind to get for me many years ago.
Oh.
Bar scene sucks. South Beach.
In South Beach?
Yeah, it's a tourist trap. It's all bullshit. And there's a club or two if you know where to look, but even that, I don't know. It's not my scene. The beach itself, I don't think is great. Like there's much better beaches elsewhere in Florida. Like the literal beach.
Okay. I don't hate the actual, again, only been once, but I don't hate
if you're going to South Beach, you're sticking at
South Beach.
you're sticking at you're staying at a hotel that has either a private beach or a really sick pool. And those are a lot of money. But I don't even qualify that as South Beach because you're gonna spend a lot of money on a hotel for that. You go somewhere else. So like that's not South Beach. Like I don't know. The restaurants aren't like there's some cool nooks and crannies in Miami, but I don't even think the restaurants in South Beach are that great. Heat culture. How many conference championships have they been to since Pat Riley got there? How many NBA finals have they got to since Pat Riley got there?
Good job, LeBron. Good job, Dwayne Wade.
Who got him there?
LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. And Shaquille O'Neal, who you like to say is great.
He traded for Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
He drafted Wade. He convinced LeBron.
He wanted Chris Bosh. I think Dwayne Wade convinced LeBron James.
Butler wanted to go there.
That's the feather.
Drafted Bam. Yes. Drafted Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Finds all these undrafted guys.
Give me the weather.
Listen, we're not going to get the Riley interview if you keep this shit up.
Yeah, good. I'm going to come on. At the moment he comes on, I'm going to ask him why he left like a punk, okay?
Wow.
Yeah. Don't worry. I won't be there for that interview just to allow you the runway, sir. Don't worry. And there's plenty of deadline stuff next week. John has an announcement coming in the not too distant future.
I do?
What are you doing next week when...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
There we go.
Can I ask that at the end of this?
Yeah, if you want. Go ahead.
All right. Joe Dugan, what's going on, Joe? I know you're not an RJ guy, but he gets us much better shots at the end of games than Randall. I completely agree. 1,000%. I was so happy to see the ball in RJ's hands at the end of the game. I wanted the ball in his hands. I wanted the ball in his hands more in the fourth quarter than it even was, and it was in his hands a lot in the fourth quarter. Yes. I actually think I can't make a good faith argument that I'd rather see the ball in his hands than Brunson's hands because Brunson's clutch stats are what they are, and RJ's clutch stats this year just have not been great. But like, even with the poor clutch stats for RJ this year, and last year's clutch stats were much better for RJ, I do have confidence. When he has the ball in his hands at the end of a game. Anyway, passes out of doubles, it makes life easier on the team. He knows how to pass out of a double. Yes, he does that better than Randall, for sure. 100%. Thank you, Joe. Austin Z. Before I read Austin's comment, by the way, we should note that Luka Doncic, I don't know how severe the injury is, hurt his heel tonight, had to leave the game. They almost blew a 31-point lead, ended up winning by 5 over the Pelicans.
Ooh, yeah, that was 94-61 when I was last watching.
It got a lot closer after Luka couldn't stay in. If he goes, I mean, I love Luka Doncic. I love watching him. I'm a big fan of his. I don't want any. I got to always add this caveat. Don't want anything really harmful to happen to anybody. But if that dude was out like a month, shit, that draft pick gets very interesting. Austin Z. Not blaming Randall for taking the wide open dunk at the end at all, but am I crazy for thinking he could have held it and waited longer to score? What?
I just watched the play that Luka fell on. He went up for a layup and got hit on his hip. That went from him going straight up to then falling on his back, and he took like a really bad fall. So it looks like he avoided the worst part of it. Like it's not a fracture or anything, but he probably jammed he fell on his ankle too. I'll send you the thing to watch. I'll put it in the chat too, everybody.
I mean, that might be a out to the All-Star break type of deal.
That I would be shocked if he's playing the All-Star game this year.
So I want to go back and rewatch the play. From what I recall, I'm doing this from memory, so if I fuck it up, apologies. From what I recall, there was no one in his immediate vicinity. Now, that said, I do think there is a little bit of the take the knee at the 1 yard line. You know, don't worry about your fantasy owners games this week and the touchdown. Because we've seen that come. Didn't we see that come back to bite a team in the NFL this year? I know I don't pay that much attention to the NFL, but I think it did.
Look no further than the New York Jets against the Cleveland Browns, because the Cleveland Browns got the first down, could have taken the knee at the 1, game would have been over. They scored the touchdown, put them up by 11, and the Jets scored a touchdown, recovered the onside kick,
Yeah.
and then scored another touchdown. So that
So,
happens
like,
all the time.
was there a world where Julius just could have kept dribbling? Yes. Now, if he kept dribbling, more seconds go off the clock. I would have to go back and rewatch it. Was it such that, like, someone was a second away from fouling him? Someone was 2 seconds away from fouling him? Was there a pass that he could have made? But, like, if anything goes wrong, if he tries to make the pass and it goes off a Knicks player out of bounds, and then you're sitting there and let's say there's a second and a half left on the clock. Let's say you dribbled around and whatever. Something bad happened. Then the Heat are inbounding the ball with some time left, and they're only down by 3. And everybody's asking the question, oh my God, Julius Randle was under the basket, up 3. He could have dunked it to put them up 5 with 5 seconds left. How do you not dunk the ball? So I could see it both ways.
So I agree with everything you just said, and I just watched the play. The only thing I'll say, because Julius could have dribbled to the corner, the scattered, again, organized chaos is what we called it. The scattered nature of the play, where the Knicks got a rebound, then another turnover, then the Heat turn it over, and then the Knicks get the I heart pass up court. If I'm Julius, just take the points and trust that you can protect the 5-point lead with 5 seconds left. I'm not sure nobody could hear anything at that point. So if someone was yelling, just dribble to the corner and throw it up in the air. Yeah, I would also, like, you should be able to protect the 5-point lead with 5 seconds.
But left. Like, what do we always hear? And this, I think, has to do with a lot of their end of game shit. That's bad. What do we always hear? Like, professional athletes are incredibly gifted at what they do. When they're asked to do something that they're not accustomed to doing is when they fuck up. Mm-hmm. And imagine Julius, let's pretend he heard someone yell, oh, dribble it to the corner. And then he we haven't seen this player get rattled before.
I mean, maybe he just falls suddenly. Oh, did we see that tonight?
Imagine he goes to dribble and he dribbles it off his foot.
Yeah.
And then there's 4 seconds left. And they're like, and we're sitting there and be like, oh my God, why did he dribble the ball? He was right on the basket. And we're losing our shit.
I agree. Take the 2 points. You're an NBA team. You should be able to look. I actually do think there is something to Austin's comment that the Heat had trapped quickly, and then Randle had a wide open lane and probably the wide open right side of the court. I'd rather see the 2 points get scored and then you protect the 5-point lead. That's at least my thought.
Yeah, but I'm happy we went through that. That was good.
Agreed.
Dom Cappuccini, 2-2 week is still alive. Considering no Brunson against one of the toughest defenses they face now, that dust has settled. I can actually enjoy this and feel good going forward. Yeah, I would love to get one of these games this weekend. Who is it before? Oh, it's the Clippers. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I should know this because this is really important. Do the Clippers play on? Do the Clippers play tomorrow?
Tomorrow, no, they do not.
So they have 2 days off.
Yes.
And I'm assuming the Clippers.
No, the Clippers are playing right now. Clippers are playing in Milwaukee right now.
Oh, I just turned on this game. Okay.
Yeah, it's a TNT game. The second TNT game. By the way, the better example I should have used other than a Jet game, shout out Dirty Dancer in the chat. Super Bowl 46, Giants Patriots. Giants could have gotten to the 1-yard line and taken a knee and then kicked a field goal. And Ahmad Bradshaw scored, which was a Belichick design that he opened the floodgates to let the Giants score. And he tried to stop himself at the 1, and his momentum brought him in, giving the Patriots one more shot. Did not matter because the Giants won, and Tom Brady lost the Super Bowl. And that's how I'm going to remember him, that he lost 3 Super Bowls, Tom Brady.
I'm trying to think which of those games I feel bad. I hate our matchup against Philly.
You gotta like the Clipper matchup. It's a West Coast team traveling east. It's Madison Square. It's New York City on a Saturday night.
It's Kawhi Leonard, Paul George.
What does that matter?
If they both play, which again, you never know because that's
the other part. You can get a load management night. Yeah.
Like they sit random fucking games when they play together. But that's another one. They're honestly their Heat West is the team where it's just like it hasn't gone right this year.
Yeah.
Although actually maybe Warriors are more Heat West because the Warriors, like the one thing about the Heat or the Clippers is when the Clippers have their guys, they've been pretty good. They just haven't had their guys a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. My God, what I wouldn't do to get one of these 2 games this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Buzzer beater. Wise as an owl, clever as a fox. That's it. Wise as an owl, clever as a fox.
Well done.
I was struggling there. Thank you for that. Wise as an owl, clever as a fox. Zach Har, what's going on, Zach? Glad the family wasn't home. I woke up the baby tonight. This Heat team makes me crazy, dude. Hope my neighbors can't hear me across the street. Grimes locked down Butler, right? I thought, can we read Jimmy Butler's stat line?
Yeah, go ahead.
If I could find it.
I got it if you need me to.
Yeah, you got it handy?
Yeah, Jimmy Butler tonight was 5 of 13 from the field. The more curious thing for me, had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 turnovers, 0 of 1 from the free throw line. And that free throw was a defensive 3 seconds that he missed. No, it was either a defensive 3 seconds or a technical. I remember he came back from a timeout and he took a free throw. But Jimmy Butler, who's known for getting to the line so much more than regular players. I was shocked. Did not draw a foul that sent him to the line.
Grimes
tonight.
Again, I don't know. It was something up with Butler. I don't know, but like there was a specific play, and I tweeted it out. It was in the early middle third. I didn't tweet out the play. I commented on it where Butler tried to bait Grimes to get him in the air, and he didn't take the bait.
Mm-hmm.
Stood his ground straight up. I forget if he prevented the shot attempt or if it was a missed shot, but like I thought watching Quentin Grimes tonight, like you can't play defense on Jimmy Butler better than that. And like, look, all the RJ praise in the world, but like it's telling to me at least that Tibbs was like, yeah, you're gonna go guard Jimmy Butler tonight. RJ, you could chase around Tyler Hero, and we would rather take our chances there than have you guard Jimmy. Quentin Grimes is just that good right now defensively. And he hasn't been perfect. He hasn't been perfect, but his ceiling is that high. Dom Cappuccini, what's your favorite Heat Knicks moment? I mean, it's an easy one for me. My top 2, 1999 Game 5 and 2000 Game 6. So 99 Game 5, I think, is probably my favorite Knicks moment ever.
Same.
Yeah. Because that, I think I've said this before. When that shot went down, I'm like, we're going to the finals. I said it all along that series. If we beat this Heat team, we're going to go to the finals because we're going to beat Atlanta and we're going to beat Indiana.
You had that much confidence against Indiana?
I mean, I was like 15, but
okay.
16, whatever I was. But yeah, I was convinced. 2000 Game 6. Are you sure you're not talking about 2000 Game 7?
It's both. You're going to be mad at me that I know the scores of both games.
Well, I remember watching Game 7 more than I do remember watching Game 6.
Yeah. Game 7, Ewing hits the dunk to make it 84-83. Yes. Clarence Weatherspoon ends up with the game-winning attempt. Sprewell, the guy behind you, gets the rebound. Chris Childs calls timeout. And Knicks end up, he then does what I was yelling. So this is the defense of the comment earlier that Julius should have run the clock out. What we were yelling on playback when Julius got the ball from Quickly was just throw it up in the air. So there was a part of me that was like, run the clock out, but he got the dunk and I took it. Yes, that Game 6 and 7. Game 6 was a dogfight. The Knicks were down by double digits at halftime, and they came back and won. Welcome to the early 2000s, late 90s, everybody. 72-70 was that final score.
Trying to think. Like the fight, the LJ Zoe, that was memorable, but for a different reason. Only other thing I'll say as far as my least favorite might have been, was it Vashawn Leonard? The Vashawn Leonard 3. It might be a little before your time.
Is it a regular season thing?
It might have been a regular season game.
Okay.
It's a while ago. The chat, someone in the chat I think will know what I'm talking about. But it was a Vashawn Leonard 3 to win a game.
Maybe the most annoying regular season Knicks Heat moment actually happened in the, I want to say it's 98, when Allen Houston hit a buzzer beater that was then waved off because we didn't have the technology to review games. But the Allen Houston game winner that didn't count during the regular season, then they met in the playoffs as the 2-7 matchup. That was then the game 4 where LJ and Mourning are fighting, and it leads to the iconic Jeff Van Gundy holding on to Alonzo Mourning's leg picture, and then moment, and then both are suspended for game 5, in which the Knicks end up winning by, I think, 17. But they end up winning that series. So
maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm thinking of a Hardaway shot.
That rings a bell. A Tim Hardaway game winner against the Knicks, that rings a bell.
It was a big Vashawn Leonard game.
The thing, Dom, like the game 6 was almost 2000. The series was almost bittersweet because of then what happens in the next series against Indiana, which was them running out of gas, them finally getting to the finals, and Ewing playing his last game as a Knick. Game 5 in 99. I still I have that poster in storage for whatever man gave.
What, the Houston shot?
Yes, that poster remains my favorite moment. That's the moment I became a Knick fan. Like I've told you, I grew up a Michael Jordan fan because Space Jam. And then when he retired, I needed a new team to pivot to. And I was like, all right, so this local team seems pretty cool. And my first moment as a Knick fan, really rooting for them to win, was a Houston running jumper. Got it.
That's
yeah.
It's a good story. All right, let's keep it going.
Thank you, Don.
Rafi Schmutzer. First time, long time, John, but really, is it fair and reasonable to say that Julius Randle's All-Star selection puts him on the path for most improved player? No, I don't think he's going to get that again. I will say he's it is I was looking at my list from last year I did the rankings of the top 75 Knicks of all time. He's in the top 30. He's in the top 30 now. He is one of the 30 best Knicks of all time. And if that sounds crazy to you, you go on Basketball Reference, you could sort Knicks players by total points scored, total rebounds. You could sort them by scoring average. And the Knicks have a really, really solid, in terms of their history, like a really solid top 20 for sure. And then you could make a case for another 5 or so guys. And then you start getting a little like, oh, do I want to highlight this role player who was on some really good teams, but he was a role player? Or do I want to highlight a guy like Bob McAdoo, another 2-time All-Star, who was a former MVP that came here and made 2 All-Star teams. This team did do a lot of winning. They made, I think, one or 2 playoff series, didn't do much. But yeah, it gets a little dicey after the top 20, top 25. So Julius Randle, top 30 Knick ever. I'm telling you right now.
I'm getting chastised for being a Michael Jordan fan first.
I was a Michael Jordan fan too. I was a Michael Jordan fan while I was a Knicks fan.
This is our age. Maybe some of the older Knicks fans are like, how could you be a fan of Michael Jordan? He killed us every year. Well, we were introduced to basketball through Michael Jordan, at least.
I never rooted.
I was introduced through Michael Jordan.
I was a Knicks fan first. And I was rooted for the Knicks against Michael Jordan. But the thing to remember is I really came into it at 93, 94. So I only got one series against Jordan, and it was in 96. And so that was really it. I remember 93, but I wasn't really a fan then.
Also, when you were thinking of game winners, was the play a runner that was from behind the backboard?
Yes.
That's Anthony Carter.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering if you were thinking of that game. That was game 3, made it 77-76. I didn't know you could do that. And then the broadcast was like, he shot it over the backboard. And then the Knicks lose because of that being the game winner.
Was that in 2000?
That was part of that series. That was game 3. Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then they came
I'm
back and
sorry.
won game 4, lost game 5, won game 6, and then won in Miami in game 7.
Anthony Carter.
Yeah, Anthony Carter.
That's a bad job by me. Sorry. Mythic Monty. Liberty have a super team. New York championship soon. Yeah, I
Yeah, they
heard they
do.
got some
Brianna
good
Stewart,
player, right?
former
Brianna
MVP Brianna Stewart. They also, I believe, traded for the current MVP. So now they got Sabrina. They have, I'm blanking on the name, the other woman that they picked up, but they have a legitimate like 20. I have to say 2010 Miami Heat, where they have a legit super team.
Not
that
one,
should,
not two, not three.
not yeah. This could be a legit dynasty, which I will root for them as a New York fan. I also wish these games were at Madison Square Garden, but that's neither here nor there.
Clippers are up 18 on the Bucks, by the way.
On the Bucks, is Giannis playing?
Yeah. Thanks, Mythic Monty. Sam Garcia. It's always great feeling when we beat the Heat. Yes, we just discussed. Yes, thank you, Sam. Hope your dad and mom are good.
Yes. Shout out, Sam.
The whole Garcia family. Stevens Guillaume. I hope I find a woman who loves me as much as Andrew hates the Heat. Glad we got a W.
Good luck. And yes, that would be some very passionate, deep love that you're getting in that case.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. There's no other. I don't know. It's the Patriots, it's the Yankees, it's the Miami Heat. That order. Yankees won.
I don't hate any. It's been too long. I don't hate any teams.
You don't hate any teams?
I don't. I really don't like Trae Young.
Oh, so Atlanta. See, that's weird. I don't hate the Atlanta Braves. I hate, like, they're such a well-run organization, and I don't have a lot of Braves fans in my life that, like, or even Atlanta fans that talk shit to me when they lose. I also, like, the Braves don't win enough after they get ahead of the Mets for me to be upset at them. They've won 2 championships in my life, despite all this division winning, you know?
Gotcha.
Whereas the Yankees, you have that late 90s run where everybody in proximity of me that could count to 27 or however many of the championships they won told me how many championships they won. And then the same can be said for those wicked North up in New England, you know?
That was pretty good.
Thank you. I just watched The Town the other night. So
I wouldn't even attempt to do that.
There goes college
Stevens.
soccer.
Oh, gosh.
It's the greatest line of the whole movie.
But don't watch the alternative ending.
No.
Fargo Tufo. What's going on, Alex? I love the hatred we have for Miami. A very smart person told me that we had no idea what was going to happen tonight, and geez, was he right?
I want to double down on a comment from Marcus Miller. He said, bleep Philly as a whole respectfully. John knows how I feel about the city of Philadelphia. They're number 4 on that list. So
I don't really care about Philly. Lamar Jordan. If Grimes gets 3 stars, RJ gets 6. Wow. Okay.
There you go.
I mean, listen, I like the RJ energy. Bring all the RJ energy. It's too easy for me to discount the thing that he is great at, which is driving the lane. And he is great, not good. He is great at driving the lane. And that is such a skill to be able to get downhill. And when he's converting shots like he was tonight, like what can you do? You're going to make me rethink it. I'm going to rethink it. There's something about if a guy gives you a complete game on both ends of the floor in the way that Grimes did, does it overtake? Like no one's questioning RJ had the better offensive game, even with the inbounds. But defensively, is there enough of a difference? I don't know. I'll think about it. Sheldon Gomes, what's going on, Sheldon? Need an OB defensive breakout more than I need oxygen. A definitive breakout more than I need oxygen. Yeah, I'd like it too. I don't. Man, I'm not under the radar, but like, I wonder if Obi's name pops up this week.
I've given up on it happening here.
Yeah, that's why I wonder if his name popped
Yeah.
up this week.
So that's why I'd be open to it. I think you get more value
Oh.
for him in the offseason or even on draft night.
I think it was wasn't it Juanon who asked before about trade stuff. I think we're gonna hear more OG stuff.
Oh, are you? I'm not gonna do nothing with social. Are you reporting that?
No.
Okay. You just your gut is saying.
I think we're gonna hear more.
So he's reporting that he just doesn't want me to do stuff on social. John, little birdie told him we're gonna hear more.
No, because that's not true.
All right, Lord Varys, you have your little birdies out there collecting news and nuggets. I get it.
I think we're gonna hear more OG stuff. All right, Parrish Duggar, not an enjoyable game until it just got enjoyable. I don't know what that means.
So not an enjoyable. So when it was over, it got enjoyable.
Okay.
Not an enjoyable. So I was sweating that baby out too. So I get it.
The end was not fun.
No.
Busy. Forgot to shout out Tommy P for sparking the convo. Shout out to Tommy P.
Shout out Tommy P.
Thank you, Busy. Yeah. Iliusi. Claudio going in. Let him cook. Side note. Tibbs plays out of timeouts should be a subject of study. Good Lord, are we bad? We can never seem to execute. I think the end of the game stuff is not great. There was a play. I think Tibbs called a timeout with 5 minutes left on the fourth. The offense had stagnated. They really needed a bucket. It was a beautifully designed play, a lot of passes, and it resulted in quickly dumping it off to Hardenstein for the easiest layup Hardenstein will ever get.
Mm-hmm.
And he just missed it. Like, you'll see that stuff too. Like, Tibbs does have the ability to design good stuff at inbounds. But just the end of game stuff seems to go awry. Bernard Richardson, 10 more seconds of laughter at Heat Culture, please. I'm laughing on the inside.
Oh, man.
Because my voice is gone.
So LeBron goes to your city, and all of a sudden, your culture is the reason why you win, not because the second greatest player ever went there. Got it.
I don't mind the laughter.
I enjoyed this one tonight. Very much enjoyed this one tonight.
No, this is great. I like beating them. Ed Powell, what's going on, Ed? Quentin Grimes made Jimmy Butler look real regular. Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Damn Skippy did. Oh, I love that game from Grimes. Thank you, Ed.
He had another one.
Oh, Kyle Lowry, LMAO, $30 million per year. Yikes!
We watched as a crew the Whopper video that went. Yeah. Oh my gosh. We asked, would anybody is there any Knick that would get that type of treatment? And I then redirected them to the petition that went around today and the signs that were posted outside of MSG. Maybe no Knick player, but maybe a Knicks head coach might get that type of treatment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tibbs got that for sure.
Yeah.
Kevin Danishevsky, John will like this one. Is Tibbs a Hall of Fame coach? I mean, I wrote about this extensively when he had his 100th win as a Knicks coach.
The one for
He's
you,
not.
yeah. He's not.
He's not. Can he get there? It's not out of the realm. I mean, just resume-wise, you look at total wins, you look at winning percentage, and you look, he's a two-time Coach of the Year award winner. So when you put all that together, games over 500, he would need to do something here. Not win a championship. If he won a championship here, he would go in the Hall of Fame. But I think he would need to do something here. He would need to have some meaningful playoff success. Like, I don't know to get him to a finals, but like, I don't know. I don't think it's off the table, but I also think this is his last stop.
There's two paths for Tibbs to get in, and that's the Rick Adelman path, where Tibbs sticks around to get to 1,000 wins, and then he's one of 10 coaches to get to 1,000 wins, or the Bill Fitch path. The problem is that Bill Fitch was the 1981 NBA champion, so I don't know if he gets a championship, but the accomplishment for him is he took 5 different teams to the NBA playoffs, which Tibbs has been a floor raiser, as we've like to say, everywhere he's gone. And two-time coach of the
Like,
year. So that adds to the resume.
like if you look at, I did the whole deep dive. Like, if you look at comparables, like Scott Brooks won a Coach of the Year award, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Nate McMillan has a shit ton of wins. Mike Fratello, the czar.
Mm-hmm.
Go look up how many fucking wins Mike Fratello has. Like, that dude had a pretty impressive career. Like, but those guys aren't those guys aren't Hall of Fame coaches. I feel like Tibbs is above that group, but like he's not like he hasn't elevated himself to the class of like that special class. And maybe he doesn't ever get a chance to do it. I don't know. And here's the other part of it. The reality that there's everywhere he goes, there is this much fan, whatever you want to call it, consternation, angst, anger, disenchantment, like all of that shit. I'm not going to say it's going to matter a lot, but I don't think it's going to matter a little.
Again, the Bill Fitch, if you want to say that the Celtics 08 title, that I like to credit to the defense, which was half Tibbs, half Kevin Garnett, then that could count as his one title. And then the rest is, the rest of the resume. The problem is it's not. That was the head coach, Doc Rivers, that will get the credit for that.
But that was his defense.
But I'm crediting the Tom Thibodeau defensive coordinator, like Mike Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan gets credit for that offense that won Matt Ryan the MVP, and then it fell off a cliff when he left to go to San Francisco. And he's clearly been a wizard. Like, coordinators, if you want to call Tibbs that, end up with a lot of credit when you dig into the weeds. But like at the end of the day, it's still his coaching staff. So Tibbs would need to also, like you said, stick around and get to 1,000 wins. And then we can
He's
have
not
that
doing
conversations. But again, NBA Hall of Fame. Did you coach basketball? Yes, you're in. That's how we might end up with Tibbs in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Frank Miranda. Hey, Mag, it's your boy Frank from Patreon. I'm glad to be wrong on my 36-win prediction. However, it still doesn't negate the fact that the coach personifies the definition of insanity. # fire Tibbs. I think you have the biggest fire Tibbs energy out there, Frank, which I appreciate. But I love you.
Got a barrage about to come, by the way. We got about 10 left as well. So
okay. Robert Cross, is it fair and reasonable to say that now is a good time to trade a certain all-star? If so, what do you think we could get in return? # 53 wins. They're not trading. They're not.
Not anytime soon, no.
And because of the second part of your question, what could we get in return? There's nothing that they could get in return that would even have them entertaining the idea of trading Julius Randle. Danny Gardner, I'm 23 and too old for this. I like it.
And then the next one.
No number Knicks fan. Dan Hidalgo has no clue. I'm over 65. Definitely too old for this, but worth the W. I like it.
And then the next one.
Bernard Richardson. I have to do this for another 30 plus years.
Yes. Eventually you'll be too old for this shit too.
Everybody gets there. Robert Cross with another one. It's your boy John. How would you feel about a starting five of, all right, Jalen Brunson, okay, Grimes, okay, RJ, okay, Obi, okay, and Mitch. So we're trading Julius Randle for draft picks?
Literally, how would you feel about getting rid of Robert? Is on his agenda right now. He's at his highest value, 2-time All-Star. Let's bring him, get rid of him, and get Obi in here.
There has been a guy who was traded right after being selected to the All-Star team. I think perhaps for another guy who was selected to that same All-Star team. In the other, I'm thinking of the Jason Kidd trade to Dallas.
Oh,
but the Nets were.
That was for. Hold on, I'm gonna pull that up while you're.
Yeah, whatever the last the year Jason Kidd was traded to Dallas when he was traded for Devin Harris. What I'm forgetting is, did Devin Harris make the All-Star team that year, or did he make the All-Star team with Dallas? That I forget. But I know the Nets were not good that year. That I know. So it was not like they were trading away their possibility of a playoff spot.
Got traded to the Nets and then made the All-Star game as a New Jersey Net the next year. So was
Are you
not
sure
an All-Star.
when he didn't get traded to Dallas?
I'm looking at his basketball reference page. The only All-Star game he made was 08-09. That trade was made in the 2000 right after the 2008 trade deadline.
When he got traded from where to where?
From Dallas to New Jersey for Jason Kidd.
That's Devin Harris.
Devin Harris, staring right at it.
Yeah, so I'm talking about when Jason Kidd got traded to Dallas.
Right, from the Nets to Dallas.
Okay, so but he was an All-Star that year.
Yeah, I'm saying Devin Harris wasn't.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right. That's happened a bunch of times. Carmelo Anthony made the All-Star team and then went on this press tour afterwards because he wanted to get traded. And they got traded to the Knicks. DeMarcus Cousins got traded the night of the All-Star game. And in the post-game presser was told you were just traded to New Orleans. And he was the All-Star game was in New Orleans. And he had to comment in real time how much he loved the city of New Orleans and how much he was enjoying it because he was not going back to Sacramento that night. You know, that happens often, but that's also back when the trade deadline used to be after the All-Star game. Now it's before, intentionally for that reason, to avoid that kind of situation. Yeah.
I don't know, that's the one I always remember. Robert Cross, first time, long time, John. Do you think Emmanuel quickly has been motivated by Cullet's attempts to trade him earlier this year? Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. Hashtag 53 wins. Man, Emmanuel quickly, what a mentally strong dude. Never let any of the trade stuff get to him. Just came back or not came back because he didn't go anywhere, but like just came out, continued to improve his game. No, I think if you want, like, he had to know that his name was being discussed in trades, and that's a thing that happened, aggressively discussed in trades. So I don't know. He just handled his business.
Yeah, played himself out of trade talks. That's the best thing you can say about him. You know,
a lot of good things you could say about that kid. Frank Miranda, what's up, Mag? It's your boy Frank from Patreon. I know that we disagree at times, but I appreciate KFS. You guys are the cheers of content creators, capital C for anybody listening, referring to, I hope, the bar/television show. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. Frank, we not only know your name, we know your face, we know the sound of your voice. It is the best. And you always ask good questions, which I appreciate. So thank you.
Shout out Frank from Patreon.
One and only. Robert Cross. JMAC, this is for you.
This is for me. GMAC. I farts. Is it fair and reasonable to say that Kevin dropping that list on playback deserves the KFS ban? If so, how many games? So let me add some context, because we do this sometimes where we reference an inside joke and then people on the pod or on the live stream have no idea what we're talking about. If you are a Knicks Film School patron, you have access to our playback watch parties. There is a chat that everybody watching us live can interact and leave comments, and we like to react to the chat. Maybe sometimes they throw questions at us. The other night, Knicks were playing the Lakers. We're talking about LeBron James and his standing all time and what our top 10 or whatever would be. Kevin, huge basketball fan, Mr. Kevin Danishevsky, was saying like, oh, I actually have my top 20 or whatever handy. Here's what it is. And proceeds to put what is the equivalent of a Google Doc inside the live chat. And it just takes up the entire page. Like I had to scroll up, and it very much became that meme of the iMessage response to a long text being like, I ain't reading all that shit. I'm happy for you, or I'm sorry that happened, and led to some comedy at his expense. I then went back and at halftime when I had time to go and read and looked at his top 20. But if you want to be part of those types of hijinks and fun times on the playback, you can join us every week by signing up to be a patron. So that's what happened, and that is what Robert is referring to. No, Kevin is not banned. The comedy would not happen if we didn't get moments like that. So there you
go. Thank you, Robert. I have not looked at Kevin's list, by the way. You want stats update, by the way?
Oh, we'll do it at the end. We're almost done.
Robert Cross, it's your boy John. Were you a Michael Jordan fan? Or you were a Michael Jordan fan? I need another therapist now. FML hashtag 53 wins. Yeah, I'm always generally a fan of, like, if I feel like I'm like it's the greatest of all time. That is why, like, I was incredibly huge Tiger Woods fan. Like, I don't really watch golf anymore because Tiger's doesn't play. I loved Federer, loved Serena. Trying to think who else falls under that description. But yeah, that was more Michael Jordan for me. Just to, like, be able to, I don't know, it was I liked being able to watch a guy who I knew I would, like, was already, he already went, he was, like, when I started watching him, he was already considered maybe the greatest basketball player of all time. And that's why I was like, I had heard about this guy, and because he had retired. And then when he came back, I'm like, oh my God, I get to watch him now. And I get, like, everybody had told me about the guy for all these, like, the 2 years that I had been watching the sport without him. And then he came back. So I was like, I'm going to appreciate this. So that's why I was a fan.
I enjoyed Space Jam. That's why I was a fan.
That's good.
There you go.
I enjoyed Space Jam too. Robert Cross, first time, long time, John. My new partner doesn't understand how this has been going on for 2 hours.
Well.
Hashtag 53 wins.
Sometimes neither can we, Robert. So you
Let's
can
see if we can get out of here before the 2 hour mark. Yes,
all
but
right,
neither can we.
Speed through it. Here we go.
If what is IYB?
It's your boy.
Oh, it's your boy. She's following up with, don't they have lives? Hashtag 53 wins.
This is our life.
This is
this is our life.
My life would be to finish this and then write a newsletter to try to encapsulate that game.
Yes, and then I will edit this while John does that. So there you go.
Good luck to me. And I'm not that I ever call in sick because I'm a crazy person, but I can't even call in sick tomorrow because my co-teacher is out. So it would be really shitty of me to also call out. So this is going to be a John shows up to work on 4 hours sleep night,
there you go.
Day, whatever.
Yeah, no game Friday night though. So
we have the sitter. We have a sitter coming.
Date night. There you go. Any big plans? Brooklyn nightlife.
Getting a drink. Shout out Clover Club.
Oh, there you go. We're seeing that new M. Night Shyamalan movie, Knock at the Cabin or whatever it's called. I'm sure it'll have a great setup and terrible execution, like most of his movies these days.
Kevin Danishevsky, if Doc is a Hall of Famer, Tibbs is. More important to the Celtics championship. Doc has a lot of wins. You know, I would argue that Tibbs is a better coach, but Doc has a lot of wins. That matters. Yanni Golan, what's going on, Yanni? Hey guys, F the Heat, F Riley. If we do get OG Anunoby, as John just reported it live, I want to be very clear. I do not think the Knicks are going to get Anunoby, but I do think you're going to hear them come up again in connection to him before all is said and done. What's the next move? Do we trade RJ? Sick Grimes. What would you do? Let's go Knicks. That's part of the reason why I don't think they're going to get him is because I talked about this with Benji. Yeah, on playback the other day. I don't think they're going to look at like a Brunson, OG, RJ, Randall, Mitch front court and be like, "Oh, that's a formula for success." I don't like the feel of that. I don't like the look of that. So yeah, and don't make any big moves until the summer. They don't need to. There's no, unless you're getting an OG at a price that's like, oh man, we can't walk away from that. And I can pretty much guarantee that you're not getting him at that price. Red Sarachek, YouTube bill through the roof. Get some rest, J-Mac. Yeah, I'm going to try.
And then this is an appropriate one to end on. This is also from Red.
Jules' comments about Johnny Bryant warms my heart.
So I just put the link to it in the chat. If you want to watch it live, you can. If you're watching this later, obviously just go to the chat and see what it is. The quote, shout out from @NBA_New York. One of the greatest, honestly, the best Knicks aggregation site that exists right now. But the quote is, Johnny Bryant came to me beginning of the summer. I hadn't touched a basketball in a month and a half to 2 months. Honest conversation. He helped me put my ego and pride to the side, try to adjust my game, look at myself in the mirror, do what's best for the team. End of quote. Julius Randle, an all-star again. So shout out Johnny Bryant. What's up?
No, I'm laughing. He had something about Tibbs, Nick's Twitter coming after Tibbs.
Oh, that's what your first mistake was going. We call him Nickanon now. Like,
what is that?
Nickanon, like instead
What
of
is that?
QAnon.
I don't know. QAnon's like a news network, right?
No. Oh, I'm glad. You don't need to know what QAnon is.
Okay. I told you I don't pay attention to. I haven't paid attention to politics in several years.
Let's just say a lot of people that subscribe to the beliefs of QAnon, we know where they were on January 6, 2021.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So who's QAnon or what's QAnon?
I will tell you off. The Nickanon, Nick's Twitter. That is has an agenda, and if there is an insurrection at MSG, you will know who incited.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, better be careful.
Yeah. Someone just commented, RAP monetizing this video. I may have some selective editing to do at the end of this.
What's the problem? I don't get it.
No, they're like doxed in a way that you need to be careful that they don't like I'm just going to tell you off the air. That's fine. Honestly, I'll just tell you off the air. Okay. You're good. Do you know what Pizzagate is? None of this?
Isn't that with Hillary Clinton?
Yes, she was not involved, but the belief is that she is partly responsible for some of this. You know what? It's better that you don't know at this point. I
love not knowing.
Yes.
We're not doing stats update before we leave.
I got nothing. There's no update. If you want to give it, go ahead. It hasn't updated yet on my side.
How many? What win was this for them?
This is win number 28. Yeah, they haven't updated yet.
I have it. 9th in offense. 9th in offense. Still 17th in defense. Still 10th in net rating. So there you go.
Yeah, that's what it says on mine. It just also says they're 27 and 25.
No, I have it as 28. Okay. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Remember, like this video, subscribe to the channel. See you live after the next game. Let's fucking go Knicks.
There you go. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you don't know, good thing you don't know. There you go.